Tell me what it's like to make that transition as an elite age grouper to a developing pro. Do you feel like you're competing amongst your peers, or do you feel like you have to play catch up for a few years? Or tell me what's going on as far as how you view yourself, maybe not in comparison to other pros, but your career trajectory.
Yeah, that's a really great question. We don't I don't compare myself to people. I compare myself to where I was a year ago at this time.
Yep.
I think that's part of when you become elite, you can't compare yourself. People are so different in the ways they need to train based on their physiology. People are different in where they are as far as developing and becoming a pro. But yeah, I mean, when I decided to compete professionally, I had some good conversations with my coach, and one of the first things he said is, I'm not going to train you any differently. And that makes complete sense, as basic as the 10% rule. We don't increase our volume or intensity over 10%. It's taking you from where you are and taking you to where you want to become. And following a certain protocol, we're not going to jump 30% in volume from, 1 month to the next month just because we decided we're going to compete professionally.
Right.
There has to be a regimented protocol that we have to follow to get there. We don't want to get injured. We don't want to get overtrained. We don't want to get burnout. So yeah, I mean, as far as making the jump from a elite age grouper to professional, not much difference in training. We just increase the volume steadily, see how our body reacts to it, see how we react in our overloads, if we can handle the overloads, and then most importantly, how do we recover after those overloads? Going into Ironman, the training system that I'm with is QT2. We have 2 weeks of overload, and we have a few weeks going into a race after that, which is our taper phase, and seeing, are we recovering well from that? And if we don't recover well from that, then maybe next overload we're not going to increase the volume. So yeah, I mean, as far as going from an elite age grouper to pro, really we're just following our schedule and trying to recover smarter, and building the durability, and being smart about it along the way.
Yeah. So you have the same coach now that you had before you turned pro. So you were consistent in that respect.
Right. I got into triathlon in 2005, and the reason I got into triathlon is I had some injuries from running. I had done some marathons, and I started having some running injuries. So I got into triathloning, and this is a very common story among a lot of triathletes about how they got into triathlon is, I was a runner and I was injured.
Yeah.
So, we learn how to cross-train and how much more forgiving that is on the body. So
the same reason I got into it, because all I was doing was running, and I didn't have time for running anymore. So for whatever reason, I thought triathlon would give me more time. But I had been mostly a single sport person, and then I got into triathlon because I figured it would be better for my body.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Right. Yeah, so I got into the sport in 2005 and just did some local races and really, really enjoyed it. And I think the same year I got into it, I decided I was going to do a half Ironman, and I just self-coached myself. I had no clue what I was doing. And then the next year I told myself I'm going to do a full Ironman. So I did my very first full Ironman, self-coached.
Wow.
In 2006, it was Ironman Wisconsin, and it was like the post-baby phase. I need to lose 10 pounds. And
do an Ironman.
So I'm going to do Ironman, yeah, right? So I did Ironman Wisconsin. That was the year it was like 50 degrees and freezing and raining, and I think it was one of the largest, it was one of the only Ironmans where they had the largest do not finish because of the cold weather.
Oh, yeah.
So I did that race, and I think I came through the finish line at 14:30, and just felt like a train ran into me. And I
And yet you continued.
I did. I took
Yeah.
a year of recovery. I did some things for education to pursue my education degree, and rebalanced myself with my family. We adopted our first golden doodle that year. After. So instead of on my bike, I was at the dog park a lot, and just started really missing the sport again, and wanted to get a little bit more serious about it. So I hired my initial coach, and it was basically I wanted to just lean out and see what I could do if I had a coach. And I was with my initial coach for a few years, and then in 2012 I switched to my new coach, which is Tim Snow through QT2, and started with him in the summer of 2012. And I had actually got him as a coach about 7 weeks before Ironman Louisville.
Okay,
And
so
up to that time I did mostly Olympic and half Ironmans. Never trained the volume for Ironman.
Yeah.
So here my coach had me trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to get this girl ready in 7 weeks for Ironman Louisville?
Yeah, I think I remember talking to you right when you made the switch. I think it was you at Pittsburgh Triathlon. You and I were having a chat about training, and you told me that you had just gotten a new coach. And
Yep. Because I think I was on my trainer at that time after the Pittsburgh Triathlon, because I had to get more volume in.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that conversation.
Yeah. So then I did Ironman Louisville, and really to my surprise, I finished second amateur. And I thought, oh boy, I think I like this longer distance.